Hi folks, welcome to your mwis Friday Planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Now the outlook for the weekend is rather mixed. We've got generally windy conditions, gales across the higher mountains for a good part of the time, particularly on Sunday. Some showery conditions too, and some hefty bursts with hail and thunder mixed in at times as well. Next week does look better with higher pressure near to us, still some fronts giving some rain and hill snow occasionally. Some milder air gets dragged in from the south for a while next week, although Scottish mountains should still stay quite close to freezing point. Let's start off with a look at that freezing level then, and this is first thing on Saturday morning. We're around Munro level really, around 900 to 1,000 metres or so is the freezing level on Saturday across British mountains. It might be that that's a touch lower for a time, where some showers are around across the northwest highlands, where snow could fall to 600 metres or below, and some hail mixed in as mentioned. As we go through into Sunday, the freezing level is similar, maybe just a touch higher overall, so around maybe 1,000 to 1,100 metres, or locally maybe a little bit above, but the high tops then are staying frozen. There's some consolidated hardened snow patches to be aware of, and some icy conditions on our higher mountains across Britain. Now into Monday, we may well start off with a slightly lower freezing level in the morning, around 700 to 800 metres, lifting towards around 1,000 metres or so during the daytime, and probably something quite similar into Tuesday as well. Maybe just northwest Scotland could be a touch lower again for a time. Milder air then tries to get in from the south as we go through into the middle of the week, so lifting above freezing point most likely across the hills and mountains of England and Wales, whereas the Scottish Highlands may well still stay near or below freezing, above around 700 to 800 metres in the north, maybe at times getting above 1,000 metres in the southern Highlands. Let's see what the weather story does, and this is Saturday's chart, and a bit of a mixture, quite a complicated tangled chart really, with various bits of fronts just around. Now that's producing some areas of showers, some more organised precipitation just in places for a time. Showery conditions across northern England that may give the odd heavy burst with some hail, chance of rumble of thunder even in there up to about the middle of the day, but those will tend to fade. Drier conditions over Wales will extend further northwards across England with time, but for the Highlands I suspect these showery conditions will continue onwards into the afternoon. Some local breaks, some local brighter spells around, varied wind speeds, could be a little bit gusty in places, even up towards gale force for periods, and the winds will strengthen across Wales ahead of fronts coming in from the south later on, so heavy rain will arrive across Wales into the evening time. Low pressure then is tracking gradually northwards across Ireland on Sunday, with gales wrapped around that area of low pressure, with south to southeasterlies at first, turning southwesterly across England and Wales. Strongest of the wind speeds will be around more western mountains, but some very gusty conditions pretty widespread. It's broadly a showery situation, some longer spells of rain mixed in, and some hail and thunder, and some snow on the mountain tops as well through the day on Sunday. Most frequent precipitation focused on more western regions. Across the eastern side of the Pennines, some drier spells, and toward the far north of the Highlands also some drier spells at times. But further west, that could be that showers merge into something a bit more constant. Now into Monday, the leftovers of that area of low pressure still giving us some areas of showers, I'm afraid. That low is pulling away further to the north, but still some frequent bursts of rain, some hail, some snow across the hills across the Highlands for a good few hours. For England and Wales, some showers will be around, tending to break up as time goes on and fade as higher pressure starts to build from the south. But for the Highlands, I suspect showers will keep going into the afternoon, gradually becoming a bit more scattered. Rather blustery as well, and rather cold feeling still, with sub-zero temperatures across the higher mountains. The wind will tend to ease from the south. For Tuesday, we see a largely dry story for many regions. The far west and northwest of Scotland sees the next approaching weather front, and that producing lower cloud and the risk of some rain and drizzle and some snow just over the higher mountains, as well as that runs in to the chilly air. Broadly dry across the eastern side of the Highlands, England and Wales, with some sunshine coming through, some early mist and fog patches in the valleys, but clouds should break up pretty well and there should be some sunshine. Light winds toward the south, breezier though, maybe even touching gale force across northwestern Scottish mountains. Wednesday is quite uncertain, and the general story for midweek then is uncertain, as high pressure is nearby, but the dregs of a front which was to the northwest is still loitering in the forecast, and exact detail of where that sits is uncertain. But the idea of some cloud shrouding the mountains, some rain, some drizzle, some sleet and snow across the higher tops is to be expected, and even a little feature across Wales that may just pivot in from France could well give some areas of rain or showers. So watch the detail for midweek. It doesn't look particularly settled overall, but equally these weather fronts are not that active, so on balance it's not particularly wet, but it could be a rather poor day in places. Away from those zones it's drier and brighter. Keep an eye on your forecast then into midweek and beyond, but broadly the second half of the week is looking fairly quiet. The remnants of a front may be just fading away. Fairly high pressure exists around the British Isles. Now, it will have been fairly mild across more southern regions through the middle of the week, but later in the week we're just dragging in a chillier easterly flow, especially across England and Wales, so temperatures tending to come back down again. It may be that it's quite a breezy picture for a while then late in the week with those east by southeasterly winds, but generally a dry story with some sunshine, some variable banks of cloud, maybe just drifting around from day to day in the footprint of moisture left behind an old front that's still in the picture. But overall that should break up to give some sun. The best of that generally toward the north of Scotland and around some western coasts. Eastern hills may drag in some cloud banks off the North Sea, and I suspect high pressure stays just to the east of us as we go into next weekend with a similar picture, mainly dry, a little bit on the cool side, one or two dregs of low cloud and drizzle, but not amounting to too much. Some fronts which lie to the west should at this stage be being held at bay over the Atlantic. Finally, thinking about the longer range into the final 10 days of March, and it's a cautiously optimistic story with higher than average pressure indicated to be around the British Isles. The exact positioning of the high will be crucial in terms of the exact detail of cloud and temperature, but overall it looks an often dry story, with low pressure away more to the southwest of Spain and Portugal, and maybe over the eastern Mediterranean as well. So we're in a more benign weather pattern as we head to the later stages of the month. Stay up to date with all your local information, of course, every day on the mwis website. That is your Friday planner in association with Ellis Brigham. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.